Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 22nd annual Podcast Mania. I'm joined by my usual host, Marshall Peterson, who is still marking out over there in the corner.
Ah!
This was awesome.
It was great. Oh man. And to think, especially if you compare it to Fastlane. Oh god.
You hate Fastlane so much.
I did not like that card at all.
Was it the card or was it the execution?
Was it everything? Yes. It was the execution, to be fair.
Yeah. So this was a good show.
Oh my god, this was great.
So where should we start?
I think we should start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start because we start at the end. We might, die.
Yeah, okay, so we'll start at the beginning. So I went downstairs to get tons and tons of snacks and avoid the opening. So how was America the Beautiful this year?
Oh my god, it was so beautiful.
Good.
No, it was. I
usually like it.
It was decent. I think it's weird that they do that instead of the national anthem, and maybe they want to do their own thing.
They sing national anthems at house shows, so I don't know why.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But maybe it's fine. It's acceptable. Like no one's gonna boo them. No one's gonna say you're not a patriot because it's a pretty patriotic song. But yeah. I don't know. It's just weird. I don't really care. But what I thought was funny, the whole time I was watching that, I was thinking it would just be hilarious if they decided to blare Rusev's theme song. I mean, I don't think they would because it would cause everyone to get really angry.
Yeah.
But because disrespecting that is really a no-no here. But I was hoping it would happen so much. It would be so funny. Thank you for redoing that. It was a mess. No one could read anything. So.
Okay, so you liked American Beautiful this year. Did they do the usual planes flying over thing?
I didn't catch that. I think they might have. I was also sort of in the midst of running around doing stuff.
Yeah, they this was I think this might have been the first open air Mania outside of Florida. It's at least the first one I've seen.
You're not putting a lot on the right side.
I can't get to the right side because I can't close the app for some reason.
How weird.
I don't know. But anyway. Yeah, oh, I can move it. There you go. Right.
There you go.
So, I think it's the first open air WrestleMania outside of Florida I can remember. Unless 28 was outside of Florida, which I can't remember. But anyway, so at least I remember it's 24. I think 28 was in Florida. But yeah. I remember at 24 they did the planes thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But anyway, this was... that reminds me, all of my favorite WrestleManias are open air, which surprises me because I have a distaste towards it. But yeah, so the first match of the night was, as I predicted, the Intercontinental Championship 7-way ladder match. R-Truth, Bad News Barrett, Dean fucking Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, and Stardust, and Luke Harper. There you go. What do you think of the match in general?
I thought it was really good. High quality. It wasn't my favorite of the night, to be sure, but it was better than I thought it was going to be. It entertained me. I don't like a lot of moves where it's like, oh, look, all these people were perfectly lined up for me to throw another person into them. Because to me, that breaks the immersion. To me, I like to have a little immersion in my wrestling matches, and to me, that's just okay, but that would never really happen. This isn't a cartoon.
I completely get that. I wonder why you didn't love Brock Lesnar going into this event then. Because he is just the most real motherfucker in the world.
Well, I haven't seen a lot of him.
I see.
But from
nobody has. We've seen him 4 times over the last.
Exactly. I think that's why I don't like him.
It's fair.
I like a performer who performs. He comes out, so we can watch.
Speaking of a performer who performs, yes. So when Dean came out last.
So who are you talking about? No.
When Dean came out last, I thought, oh, they're making him a big deal. The crowd popped. It was a big thing. And you know what? He did have a big deal, and they got him out of the way of the finish really well, too. They had him take a really bad bump, and he wasn't coming back from that.
Yeah.
So.
And they took him out in an honorable way, in a Dean Ambrose way. I'm not going out unless you kill me.
I also like how he fell off Hell in a Cell in October and came back, but didn't come back from a ladder spot. And that's a good thing to me because it means that him getting his revenge on Seth Rollins was more important than winning the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah. And it's good for Seth Rollins that he got his revenge on him earlier.
Dean Ambrose was carted off during that match, which is why he didn't show up later. I got it.
When would he have shown up later?
Dean Ambrose vowed earlier in the year to not let Seth Rollins ever cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase.
But he was incapacitated. Oh, Seth Rollins. Anyway. I don't think he'll be coming for consolement. I think he's fine.
I think he's fine as well. We got him back into that position.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, yeah.
This match was, in my opinion, really good, high action. It isn't my favorite match on the card, because, like you said, it was really fun. Maybe
here's the thing: for such a large match, I was impressed by how each performer did decently well in holding their performance. Like usually in these large of matches, there's half of the people. Usually, like I would say, as an average, are just crap. You know.
Yeah.
And in this,
you saw it with Money in the Bank ladder matches for years.
Yeah, and with this, it was great. Everyone was really good. Anytime anyone got anywhere, they would start trying to fight them. And at the end of the match, the only reason they were able to win was because everyone else was knocked out. And that to me is a great ladder match. There's no tricks. He knocked them all out, or they knocked each other out. You know. Yeah. And so it was a decent match, and everyone, R-Truth surprised me. I didn't think he was going to do that well, but he did decent. I didn't expect much from Barrett, to be honest, and I liked watching him. He was good. Yeah. Should we say? Are we allowed to say the ending of the match?
Yeah.
Okay. Daniel Bryan, my favorite. He won, so I was very excited about that. I was cheering yes with the crowd in my house, and my family got a little freaked out by that.
Can we talk about Daniel Bryan for a second? Because
can we?
I'm so confused by the way they treat him. Because they put him on the first match in the card. They had him absolutely suck Roman Reigns off a month ago. They clearly don't believe in him as a main eventer, and yet they have him win the Intercontinental Championship. They have it seem like a big deal, and then
they played it up in the announcement.
Yeah, and then later on in the show, 4 of the biggest legends in history suck him off. So I just don't get what the WWE are doing with him. They clearly think he's a big deal, so treat him like a big deal. And tell you what, if they turn this around and make the Intercontinental Championship main event a couple of pay-per-views in the next 4 months, I will change my mind completely, but I'm just currently so confused.
Well, I think if there's one thing we've learned tonight, it's that Vince McMahon has a plan. Oh yes, he has a plan.
Are you sure? Like, I don't know if we've learned that tonight.
Well, at least he's good for a couple. Who knows if this was his plan? But I'm glad they did it. But anyway.
Yeah, we got that to cover later.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
3 hours scheduled if we need them.
To finish up. But to get back to the ladder match, a good amount of hits. Dean Ambrose broke a ladder. Stardust had his own personalized glitter ladder, which I thought was hilarious. Pulled that baby out of there.
And then Barrett just comes along and breaks the fuck out of it.
I know, immediately. Stardust is like, "This will be my ladder to triumph," and Barrett's just like, "It wasn't well built, mate," and then he breaks all the pieces and starts beating him.
Yo, ladder, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. Stop.
Yeah.
And then he hits Stardust
with very thick screws.
And then he hits Stardust with the piece of the ladder he broke off.
Yes. And JBL was like, "It's just so you learn, if you bring something, you're probably gonna get beat with it." And I was like, I guess.
I liked it a lot. I think everyone had their own character. It was a really well put together match that could have gone on. It wasn't even that short, just a little longer for me, for my money. Maybe I think the one person that didn't really get his fill was Luke Harper, but even then he looked like a dangerous motherfucker in the middle.
No, he did get quite a few hits in. I think it could have been longer because of how many people were in the match. It definitely could have been longer, but I mean, when you look at all it said is done.
You know what? There's a promo towards the end of the show, 30 minutes long, that you probably could have cut down to like 10,
Oh my God! What was that? What was that?
It was stalling for the sun to go down.
I mean, obviously it
I think
was.
it might have been.
I honestly think because it was decent. It wasn't dark, but the stadium was so big that it was at least in shadow, pretty decent shadow.
Hey, Taker's match wasn't even that long, so maybe they cut it so that it could be in the shadow.
Yeah, maybe they might have. I was expecting some crazy like the stadium top to just start like they built one that can roll over.
Yeah, I was imagining the Simpsons episode where Mr. Burn blocks out the sun and makes people pay for it.
Oh yeah, Puddy and I were making jokes the whole time about either the sun being blocked out or Vince McMahon firing a laser that destroys the sun, because we all know how much Vince McMahon likes The Undertaker.
At one point, Marshall was like, "The stadium is in shadow," and I was like, "That's Ronda Rousey's shadow."
Oh, we'll get to that.
We'll get to the promo. We'll talk about the promo. So, your rating for the ladder match?
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, rating these things. Rating all these is going to be difficult. Okay. Taking into account not rating it to the other matches in the show, because that would be unfair. Just rating it to other matches in general, I give it an A minus. I think it was great. It wasn't perfect. It could have been longer. But not a lot of things were perfect, and I think it was great. My guy won, and so that boosted it some more. Yeah. And it was I understand why they placed it at the beginning, because it was a decent way to get everyone pumped up.
Yeah.
And actually, in retrospect, a lot of their placing for the show makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. The way they placed the different matches. But we'll get to that. Yeah, but that was A minus.
We can talk about it at the end, placement and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go with B+, because I'm usually a lot harsher than you on certain things. I thought it was really, really well put together, but just for the amount of spots in it, high spots instead of like technical wrestling. For a ladder match, it was really, really good, and I think I might be being a bit harsh on it, but I just thought maybe it could have gone a bit longer. Maybe if there were less competitors, maybe a 4-way, we could have seen a bit more from it.
Yeah, there were quite a few. There were a lot, but it worked.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. A B+. It's one of the higher grades that I've got for the show.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of times we give C's.
Yes. Which, we'll get to them.
In this show? I don't think I have a C for this show.
I have a C.
I might have a C.
I think I have 2 C's.
Okay, we'll get to it. But anyway.
So what was this? Oh, it was I'm a fucking snake for...
I'm a fucking snake! Oh my God, best joke of the night.
Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins was a very, very good match. It was a very good match.
Oh, yeah, it was great. Both performed really well. Seth Rollins impressed me with how well he was actually fighting Randy Orton. When he got that first curb stomp in, I was thinking, "Whoa, Seth Rollins might win this," Yeah. No, I liked it a lot. What about you?
I thought it was awesome. I thought probably had about as much time as it deserved. The chemistry wasn't quite there, I thought. I thought both men didn't have an off night. I was scared they might. They both were up to the task. Seth brought out his big match moves, like his moonsault off the top rope and the bounce, the bouncing one to the outside. That both, it was a big match atmosphere. Orton came out in big match attire. It was a really cool. I thought it was too early in the show, but again, there are reasons for that I'm now aware of. But the crowd wasn't as into it as I would have hoped, but it was really good wrestling. It was a good story being told, and man, Randy Orton hit an RKO off of a curb stomp.
Yeah,
that was pretty awesome.
that was pretty awesome. There was a lot of endurance to pain, and Randy Orton just didn't care. Like he took it.
You could see it wasn't that he was like set up for the curb stomp and he just woke up. He had lured Seth in. When you look at him before,
oh no, no, he was purposely tired. Like, not purposely. He was purposely looking like he was knocked out. Like he was about to get,
because he wasn't on his knees for the curb stomp. He was on his feet. So Seth should have realized that. So it was a good little psychology move where it's like Orton has outsmarted Seth, and the move looked amazing because Orton doesn't push him up. Orton uses his head to push him up. It's awesome. That's That might be my best move of the night. It was freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was a great match. Again, I don't think they really click as competitors. I don't think they have too much chemistry. But it's certainly like, it's not.
I think part of that is because they're both heels, maybe.
Yeah, I think, like, I agree with you. Orton is a natural heel, definitely.
And Rollins is definitely a good heel.
Definitely.
They both play their characters so well that maybe that's why they don't work well against each other.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, Orton, vindictive and passionate against the authority is great, but he just hasn't got it this last month. Story-wise, I think is what let this match down. Everything physically really got, and I really like the psychology as well. So I'm not saying the story was dreadful. It's just I don't really get the passion behind Orton. Like, what Seth did really
Wrong! No, anyway.
What Seth did really should give Orton passion, but I just don't get it from him. Like, him playing as a face is really energetic and childish to me. I just don't like face Orton. I like more anti-hero Orton, and I didn't really get that tonight. So, but aside from that, the match is damn near perfect.
Yeah, I mean, Randy Orton couldn't pull what he did the last time we saw him beat up Seth Rollins because there were children watching. No, but I think it was a really good match. It might be my favorite match of the night just because of how unexpectedly good Seth Rollins did. And I think I walked away from this WrestleMania. I kind of liked Seth Rollins, and when I first started watching him, I didn't like him at all. Which I guess is a good thing because heels are supposed to do that. But yeah, I didn't like him at all when I first started watching. I started liking him more, and I think I walk away from this WrestleMania, and he's my favorite heel at this point. I love him. Oh, especially at the end. Now he's definitely my favorite heel because you got to play with the winning team. No, but yeah.
Jesse Pinkman in the chat says the best wrestler in the world today comes out on top. Yes, and I agree completely. He is probably the best wrestler in the world today. I would probably get on board with that. Maybe Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two. Like Seth Rollins versus Daniel Bryan this year. Come on, that's money.
That'd be awesome. I wouldn't be surprised if they set that up.
I hope they do. I hope they have faith because Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, the main event of SummerSlam.
My only problem with that will be I won't know who to cheer for because they're both my favorites now. I will be at such a loss.
So, do you have a grade for the Seth Rollins Randy Orton match?
Yeah, I will give it a. See, I'm not going to give it an A+ because I think I have to reserve that for like the match.
For Ibushi, Nakamura, for like Owens, Balor. You know,
I'm gonna wait, but yeah, an A solid.
I'm right with you. I thought it wasn't perfect. But it was, you know, if I had gotten Randy Orton's motivations from him a bit more, it would have been perfect. And almost everything that went into the ring work was. So, yeah, definitely. I'm on board. A.
Okay.
So the next match surprised me. I didn't expect it to be next.
Yes. It was the Divas, right? Or the
Sting versus Trips.
Oh, sorry, never mind. Well, that the okay.
This match I thought might come in the middle of the show, and I'm kind of glad it did. But the Sting Trips match
makes sense later on, like thinking about like placement. Well, but yeah, the Sting.
Here's the thing: in previous years, they put the Divas match on one before last, and what usually would happen is, let's say last year, right, the Divas match came in between Taker, Lesnar, and the main event, so the crowd was just dead. You know, it's a dead zone. Which is, so the reason why they put it a little earlier is hopefully to get the crowd behind it. And, you know, to the crowd's credit, they got pretty behind it.
Yeah, and I think to put Undertaker at the end, right before the main event, is perfect because, like you said, even no matter how dead they are, they're gonna cheer for the Undertaker. They're gonna get excited for the Undertaker. You know, like I feel like he's a good person to put right before the end because he's such a fan favorite. That, you know, even if they don't like him, which who doesn't, they're going to be looking and focusing at him. You know, they're going to be watching the match quite a bit.
And even if Taker sucks all the energy out of the crowd, everybody in that stadium wanted to boo Roman Reigns, and everybody in that stadium loves Paul Heyman. So
yeah, exactly.
No problems with that.
So yeah, I mean, So, I mean, let's go back to
the Triple H versus Sting.
Yeah, so Triple H versus Sting. First
Better
thing
than I thought it was going to be.
Is Sting makeup artists need to
get on Gold, call Goldust's makeup artist.
I mean, maybe it was to make him look old and shitty.
Like the way the makeup it looked at the end, but I just thought in the middle it was kind of screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
Personally,
like it made him look like his own ego had taken a beating from the match, you know?
Yeah,
like in a more metaphorical, symbolic way, which I think maybe they planned that. Maybe, if not, they should probably go with better makeup. But if you planned it, go ahead. You know, you should stick with your plans.
Sure, yeah.
So, but yeah, I for the most part, I think I like this match. I didn't know I was gonna like it. I wasn't sure because I like Triple H, and I don't really know much about Sting, but he looks like a decent competitor.
This was not Triple H's finest match. I will say.
No. But I mean, I enjoyed it. It was decent. There was a lot of just sort of very slow moves.
Yes.
Like it was a weak match as far as actual like power. There weren't a lot of power moves. There wasn't any quick stuff.
Yeah. One thing I'll say is that
which is why they did what they did at the end of the match. But what were you saying?
Yeah, they knew their limitations, and there were two matches where I thought if they didn't know what their limits were, they were going to fuck it up, and that was Bray Taker, and that was Sting Triple H. And with Sting Triple H, they turned the match from a match between two guys whose ages add up to over 100, and they turned it into a decent affair with a ton of nostalgia for people that were around watching wrestling 20 years ago, and a decent amount of nostalgia for me personally. So
I think at the end of the day, if you can't, if one wrestler isn't strong enough to act like a 20-year-old man, then just add as many old wrestlers as you can until they can fight.
So I said during this match, right, that Marshall, that because the NWO came out to support Sting and DX came out to support Triple H, at the end I believe there was more than 300, possibly more than 400 years of age between them.
Oh my God, so many old men.
There's 100 between Trips and Sting. There's at least 100 between DX, and there's at least 100 on Hogan alone. So
I love seeing Shawn Michaels, and I think one thing I did not like was the fact that they weren't very degenerate. They weren't very inappropriate. They should have been more inappropriate. I think I would have liked it more if they were just like just swearing everywhere and just like, you know, make a little jack off move now and then, you know, slapping each other's asses.
Did you notice when Triple H made the DX sign, only 5 minutes later DX came out?
No, yeah, they definitely. I thought that was weird. I was like, that's an oldie but a goodie.
No, he always does the DX movement. Yeah, it's not something that he just does randomly.
I mean, he doesn't do it that much. Most of the time, I see him and I don't know.
I'm talking about in matches.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't see him do it.
What was the last Triple H match you saw?
Like a year ago.
Yeah, the Shield versus Evolution. So like he did it during that, I'm sure, but the thing I liked about this match, just I think I explained this before, but Shawn Michaels came out a little bit later as well. The one thing I think it was missing, well, there's two things. One thing I think it was missing is they needed another WCW guy, maybe Jericho, maybe Goldberg, maybe Flair. But then the problem you got if Flair comes out is his allegiance doesn't lay with Sting. But then again, the problem you have, my second problem with this match, is the NWO and Sting do not like each other at all. They hate each other.
Which I think it was basically just at the end there a sort of, like you said, it was a WCW thing, not a Sting thing. You know, they were fighting for the old company, not for, which I think is weird in a way because like it's gone. I mean, Sting kept saying it's not about the WCW, it's about taking down the Undertaker. I mean, taking down Triple H, which like I don't know. Anyway, it was a great match.
And Kevin Nash there's this running joke about Kevin Nash because I think he had a torn quad. Then he came back and tore his quad like second match back, and then he came back and tore his quad again. And the running joke is he can't do anything without tearing his quad. So at some point during the like kerfuffle, he was outside the ring and he starts holding his leg as a joke. It's so awesome. And also another thing that kind of like gets me a little sour is that I really can't believe Trips didn't lose this match. I'm kind of worried that was.
I was really expecting Triple H to lose too. I mean, yeah, it's possible that Triple H was like, "Nah, I'm gonna win! Yay!"
I mean, like, I don't think I believe in the guy. I really do. But then there's still all those rumors from 10 years ago, the way he buried people like Jericho and buried people like Vladimir Kozlov only 5 years ago. Like that, it's just not buried these people. We don't know for sure, but I mean, all those rumors that were out at the time, and now we come here. It's like 10 years later, and he can't. Like the idea I get, it's completely wrong. I hope it is that he can't let his ego go to let Sting get his moment.
Which continues in the sort of, which kind of makes Triple H his character, his actual self. You know, it's infected him as an actual person who runs the company, like who picks matches. He's like, well, I'm gonna be the winner.
Yeah, because I mean, the way that the actual like story's been unfolding, I had a feeling Triple H was behind it. Because the story's been unfolding really well. The way they've been treating Sting has been pretty good. The booking has been pretty good. So I thought, oh yeah, Trips knows how to tell a story. We've seen it in NXT. We've seen it before. We know he knows how to tell a story. And like, if he still controlled the booking tonight, I just leaves a little sour grapes, but not too much. It was a good match.
Yeah, like going into this, I definitely thought Sting should have won because he was new and he was supposed to be like this scary guy with a baseball bat. So I don't know. He should have
won because this is probably his only match.
See, I don't know why they would. It's definitely not going to be his only match if he didn't win. You know.
I mean, like I like the way they were talking later on. Maybe Sting versus Taker is still an option, but that's the only other match.
I mean, old people.
What other match is he gonna have? He's
I have
56.
no idea, but why would they bring him on just to have one match? They like hired him. He signed a contract.
Yeah, he signed a Legends contract. Pat Patterson is under the same contract.
Oh, okay. I can probably get a contract with him then. No, just kidding. But anyway, yeah, sure. Yeah, we signed contracts with
icon of WCW and Pat Patterson.
But anyway, I think it was a decent match at the end of the day. My thing froze at the right before the match ended, and I was like, "What? No, stop!" And so you said that he hit him with the broken sledgehammer.
Yep.
Which, by the way, we can all admit is the most poorly constructed sledgehammer in the history of sledgehammers.
My thing froze
once with a light tap on a baseball bat, and it just snapped. It was like, what?
My thing froze, and my thing froze, and then when it came back, the sledgehammer was broke, so I missed that part.
Oh, you missed it?
Yeah.
Oh, he was hilarious. He was using it to block, and it just popped like a popsicle, and it's like, okay, you wouldn't even be able to do that with an axe in one swing.
I'm so glad they did that, because I really wanted to see them like clash sledgehammer and bat. I really wanted to see that happen, so I'm glad that happened. I'll watch that. Yeah. I'll rewatch the whole show tomorrow.
And there's a problem with that, which is that it's really hard to have a sledgehammer bat fight without someone actually getting killed. Because, I'm thinking, okay, Sting's going to be able to use the baseball bat because you can kind of like play with the baseball bat and not kill someone, but sledgehammer? How are you going to use that without completely breaking them?
Yeah, that's always been the thing is like the sledgehammer sometimes he goes for the full like swing and I'm like, you're going to kill a man. But usually it's just like you put your hand over the sledgehammer and it's just kind of like bad bump, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or it's a really elaborate plastic sledgehammer.
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised. That might be a good idea.
It would be a good idea because if we couldn't tell that it was plastic, it would look really good for him just to wail on someone with it, you know? Just like, no holding back, and everyone's like, whoa, what's going on?
Also, like, one thing we should take from this match, I love how much of a dick heel Shawn Michaels has been since retiring. He's done nothing but be corrupt as a special guest.
Weird.
He's super kicked Daniel Bryan, of all people, and then he almost screwed Sting out of this match. So, Shawn Michaels is kind of a heel these days.
Yeah.
That's fine.
He's Triple H's best friend.
He is, and I like that. That's consistency. He's never fucked Triple H over since retirement.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Yeah. I think that whole match was basically just a nostalgia fest. It was really surprising. One of the many surprises of the night. Did you see that coming at all? What they did with the random people, with Generation X and everything?
I saw NWO after DX came out, but not before. I didn't see any of it coming before. But then once DX came out, I saw NWO. I didn't really see Michaels coming, but after Michaels, I thought maybe Goldberg, but no Goldberg.
Yeah.
Goldberg's old.
Reinforcements. What's sad is that NWO team was so much better wrestlers than the DX team.
I don't know. NWO was pretty bad as well.
Really?
Yeah, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall are not my favorites, and Hulk Hogan is arguable. But then on the other side, you've got Road Dogg and what's the other guy's name?
Can't think of his name.
One of them. I forgot his name. Anyway, you got Billy Gunn and Thingamajig.
Billy Gunn.
And X-Pac. X-Pac isn't a good wrestler at all. But the tag team.
My name's X-Pac, and my thing is X-Pac.
So, but then the tag team, the New Age Outlaws, is decent.
Yeah.
But then, and obviously Shawn Michaels is part of DX, so come on. Give him a little credit. But
I think, okay, like I said earlier, there should have been more swearing. There also should have been more neon. I just
you're just bitter because it's not the wrestling isn't wrestling DX. That's all it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what do you give this match?
I would say I'd give it a B, right in the middle. Because it wasn't super entertaining, and I like to watch matches where the competitors are good and the match is driven from that. Or the story's really good. The competitors were decent. The story was decent. And so because of that, it got a decent score. I did like the fact they brought out, that was a huge surprise, and so I like that, and that probably raises it up. Without that, it probably would have been a B-, maybe even a C match. But all in all, I give it a B.
I thought it was a really well put together match. In a lot of ways, it was really solid. It was entertaining to me from start to finish, really. And I got the story behind it. I thought the motivations were almost bang on. They were telling us it wasn't WCW versus WWE, and then it was. But for a WCW versus WWE thing, it was alright. It was a C+ match for me. It was better than a C match, but nothing. It ain't on the level of certain B matches for me personally.
And then we saw Sting right off in his jet plane with Triple H. Oh, I guess they couldn't have because Triple H came later in the match. But Sting got on his jet plane.
Triple H didn't show up later in the night.
Oh,
not that
right.
Triple H anyway.
Yeah. Business Triple H.
Different Triple H.
Hunter showed up.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he's counting his action figure royalties right now.
All right, so then the next match was Divas, right? Women, sorry. Oh God, swear word.
Oh God. Yes, the women, which it's good they put it there because if it was later in the match, it just would have been, like you said, people would have gotten tired. Everyone would have been like, "Yeah, we get it. You're women." Can I
point out that at WrestleMania 31, AJ Lee was in a match for I think about 10 minutes, if you include the entrance. And I did not hear a single CM Punk chant. Well done, guys. You did it. You finally gave her a little bit of respect. Finally.
Good job.
Good job, guys. That's giving Divas a chance. Hashtag.
To be fair, it was a California audience.
Sure, it's so far from
I think
Chicago.
if it was on the East Coast, we would have heard.
Oh, definitely. If we were on the East Coast, we would have heard it as soon as she walked out.
East Coast
75,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was a decent match. I liked it was there was really good chemistry in my opinion between AJ and Paige. They worked well together. I think pretty well, as well as a lot of tag teams. Like, a lot of tag teams don't have very good chemistry, and I think they worked well. The Bella Twins, they were the Bella Twins, normal, just matching and annoying. No,
Really, I thought, you know how much I hate Brie Bella. You know how much I hate Brie Bella.
You say it all the time.
She I think she is almost everything wrong with the women's division. I feel like her sister, at the very least, has become a very competent wrestler. Brie, on the other hand, is not. But she wasn't in the match much tonight, and when she was, she impressed me.
Yeah, I don't remember thinking she was bad. At one point, she got hit pretty bad, and I think she got knocked out towards the end. Not knocked out, but she definitely... I don't really remember, but anyway, but yeah, she was...
You were knocked out?
Hmm?
Were you knocked out?
I might have been knocked out. I definitely got knocked out at the end.
Yeah, because you were like banging your head around.
That was a KO. But yeah, I thought it was a decent match all in all. There was some good moves. I thought AJ did really well. Paige did pretty well, and Nikki did pretty well. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Like, I really thought everyone in the match was on their A game. Absolutely. I thought everything was crisp, everything was good. Paige is amazing. Paige is in the top 10 workers, gendered aside, in the entire main roster right now. Without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. She is possibly top 5. She's amazing. She is one of the best wrestlers that I've seen in a very long time. And they need to give these girls more time. Because, like, this was a good step, I said to you afterwards. But then with reflection, it is a good step because it's 7 minutes of the best female wrestlers on your roster. The only people missing are Natalya, definitely, and possibly Naomi. But, I'm willing to check in Brie Bella for the purposes of the story. And the match was really good because there were good girls involved, right? So that's a step forward that they're trusting the best wrestlers on the roster with the big match. The problem is it's still the shortest match on the card, and to me, it should have had more time. It probably should have had equal time as at least the Intercontinental Championship match. Like, yeah. It was your female main event. It should have been 20 minutes. It should have been these girls telling a story. But instead,
and I think one thing they did well at Fastlane was that they made
Fastlane Paige versus Nikki.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Was they made the main event and the men? They made it like co-main events. They did that really well. I'm pretty sure they were around the same time. They were one right after the other. No,
I'm pretty sure it was John Cena Rusev for 20 minutes, followed by Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns for 20 minutes.
I remember the women's match being right before.
You might be thinking of an NXT show where they always do that.
Whatever. Anyway, point is, it was a decent match. But do you want to give it a grade, or do you have anything else to say about it? I mean, nothing really, crazy happened that I can think of that we should talk about. I think
we should talk about right now that they're doing another Diva search.
Oh!
And that is possibly the worst thing. Can I... One sec. I don't know what to say. I don't know what you can stall with while I look up the winners of the Diva search, but it's dreadful. It is absolutely dreadful.
Wait, what is the Diva search exactly?
Finding people that aren't in any way pro wrestlers but look pretty and making them divas.
Oh, God.
I know, right? Here they are. Here are the winners, I think. So there's Jamie Coep, who I don't know, so I won't judge. Kirsty Hemme, one of the worst of all time. Ashley Massaro, she's hot, but she's not very good. Layla L. Layla is a decent wrestler, fair play to her. And Eve Torres, who's not a very good wrestler at all. Also, the Bella Twins. Rosa Mendez. These are not good pro wrestlers. I'm sorry. You should not be looking at random models for your new female wrestlers. You should be looking at people like Candice LeRae and cheerleader Melissa and Ivelisse Velez.
I mean, girls like AJ were watching wrestling when they were 13.
I'm good. And people like Paige, who was wrestling in Scandinavia when she was 14 years old.
Jesus Christ!
Bailey, who worked the independent scene for
Scandinavians got some really loosey-goosey laws.
10 years. Bailey was like working the indie scene. Becky Lynch, who before she had a bad injury was working the indie scene for like 8 years. Sasha Banks, who was, she was a little rusty when she came off the indies, but at least she worked them. Like these are attractive women. If you want attractive women, you can find them on the indies. But they actually know how to wrestle, for God's sake. I hate WWE's aversion to the indies. Look at your star tonight. Look at the guy who won the main event tonight. He is an indie darling, and he is 28 years old, and he's going to have at least 10 years of being the top heel if you want him to be, right? The indies are a good place to find talent. You don't have to make them yourself every time. This frustrates me so much with the women because models aren't pro wrestlers. They're models. Please, stop it. Please.
Plus, I think there's a weird obsession with them being like really hot. I would honestly rather watch a girl who's not necessarily like quote unquote hot, who is really good at fighting, kick the shit out of other women.
Ronda Rousey is a prime example. Top drawing.
Okay, she was hot as shit.
Okay,
that's not a good example.
No, but the reason why she's a top drawing fighter in the UFC is because she can beat the living shit out of somebody.
Yeah. I mean, to the point where you're a little suspicious of whether steroids were involved.
Brock Lesnar is a physical specimen, but he's not really an attractive man. He just beats the shit out of people.
Yeah, no, he's not attractive at all. In fact, his head is enormous.
I don't know. Some people like the Viking thing.
His head is 3 times the size of a normal man's head. and Paul Heyman loves that because he's the only man in the world who can make Paul Heyman's head look small.
Okay, I'm ready to give the Divas match a grade. I thought it was really crisp. I just wish it had been given more time. So it's a B- for me.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give it a B- too, to be honest. Same thing I say. I mean, same thing, except I just think there wasn't. It was good. There was nothing for me that totally pulled me in. The story was decent. They could have done better with the build-up, in my opinion. That's all. B-.
Yep. All right, next match I've listed on my sheet as Murica.
Yeah! Bum, 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 bum.
Can I just say that the pageantry in this match
was awesome! Oh my god! No, this whole show, the amount of money they must have spent on it. But anyway. Yeah. They probably
made a profit.
They're not gonna not make a profit. I mean, they got with folks like Stephanie McMahon running the company. But anyway, but they had what appeared to be an armed Russian guard carrying the Russian flag. They had very fake, but still artillery guns shooting off fireworks and Russian soldiers operating them, and then. To top it all off, if it weren't beautiful enough, they have Rusev driving well, he wasn't driving it because he's in the machine gunner spot, to be fair, but he's in a tank riding along saying, "Hey, America, I'm in a tank."
I'm a fucking tank.
Yeah. And Randy Orton's going, "Did someone say snake?" Anyway, but he's... You keep having random different colors and yes. So
the impact font looks like Vess to me. Like yes.
It does. It almost looks like Elder Scrolls, like 5, the Elder Scrolls.
I see.
Another way of saying Skyrim.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, anyway. So I liked how first of all they had the Russian national anthem as Lana carries out the title. So that gives prominence to not only the title, but also Lana before Rusev even arrives. And then, it was very much...
Oh, Lana was looking good tonight. Lana was
the pageantry, the presentation.
She was wearing a polar bear.
Lana was the pageantry, the presentation, the prestige, the title, and then Rusev came in like a fighter,
Yeah, like a true warrior. It was great. There was... totally blew my expectations. Best intro of the night. without even like, in my opinion, without even a touch. Nothing even came close to that intro. When you bring a tank onto the show, you win the intro competition if there was one.
I thought the two dead men later on had a.
I thought that was good, but those ones are always good.
Yeah,
I mean, you're expecting a good intro with them. You don't necessarily expect something really good with just a really good fighter like Rusev. You're expecting him to hold his own just because he's a good fighter, but no. Not only is he a great fighter, he has a tank and an army. So that's awesome. And in a way, it was almost like, even though everyone hated him in America, like, even though like they should have loved him because he's awesome. No, even though everyone was hating on him, he had the Russians with him, so it didn't matter.
It was it was awesome. It was a great intro for Rusev, and I have to like I love the Russian theme. I think we both do. And that's why I really love.
Oh my god! The only thing that could take that over the top was if it was Soviet Russia as opposed to regular Russia.
Yeah.
Like that would just boom. but they kind of are leaning towards that with the whole thing. Obviously, like they're kind of leaning towards a more Soviet Russia kind of thing. Otherwise, no one would really care if they weren't going for an aggressive sort of communist theme. But obviously they can't because it no longer exists. They could, but they don't want to. They don't have the balls. Anyway,
yeah. So like, as much as I like love the Russian theme, which is probably what got me behind Rusev so much, I would like to point out that Cena's intro was probably pretty cool too to most people.
Yeah. No, Cena has a good intro, and he's decent at building himself up.
No, I meant the video. Cena's actual entrance was one of his worst WrestleManias in a while. I'll tell you why later, but what about the actual video?
Oh, okay. I don't remember the video. Remind me of what it was?
There's a bunch of American presidents talking.
Oh, that's right! That was decent. I think it might be because I'm a very, like, I don't know. I'm very, like...
Are you against your country, boy? Do you not like America?
Because I study history so much, and they kept saying, like, why is America the best place? And I'm like, because we stole everything from the Indians and the blacks. Okay, that's why, no. But I was just a little bit against that intro in a few ways. But no, it was good. It was well put together. It felt historical and nostalgic in a way. And I think it was really good. It played him, I mean, if they're going for John Cena to be the represent of the I'm not saying that right.
The representation?
The representative of America. They did it well. Sure. They put him forth as the American man. Like he should have. I mean, honestly, if he came in a tank, that would have also been awesome. Because we have tanks too.
Yeah, the left-hand side.
Yeah, they could have come up in tanks, and then they're like, fuck wrestling, shootout. Which tank is thicker? Who has inferior American armor? But no, that'd be great. Yeah, no, it was good entrance. Let's get to the actual match.
Wait.
Oh no, okay.
Why I didn't like Cena's entrance, and it actually like.
I mean, I don't love it. It's decent. I'm not gonna. Anyway, but yeah,
I like Cena's entrance in general. I think it's kind of cool. But anyway, this is why I didn't like this one, especially compared to earlier WrestleManias. There was no pageantry behind it, really, for one thing, and two, it started a problem that I felt plagued the rest of the match. And I told you about it kind of in the Skype. I said, I hate John Cena, but I love America. What should I do? It was kind of like that with the whole crowd tonight. It was like, because the thing you can tell if it's a pro John Cena crowd or an anti John Cena crowd is when his theme starts playing. If people sing along with it, John Cena sucks. It's an anti John Cena crowd. That's what they did tonight. But then they also had the USA chants, and they booed the shit out of Rusev. That's what you should do. He's a heel.
Oh yeah, they booed he was a heel. He was definitely a heel.
So like nobody wanted
the most clear heel of the night, like the most clear cut heel.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, but no, he's not a clear-cut heel because he's a face. That's why. Anyway,
that was the problem with the match is that nobody was cheering for John Cena, as they were just cheering against Rusev. And the problem I wrote about with Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins is it actually took place here in this match where neither of them were likable. They were just both heels.
Yeah.
Good heel move by Rusev, demanding to be announced first. Great heel move. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that was good. it's weird that they didn't announce the champion first.
They always do champion first. The champion
Yeah.
gets announced last because that's the whole pageantry behind it.
Mhm.
Usually they do like a big thing. But
I mean, it makes sense. I would rather be announced last. So, because it makes you seem like, they have to come to you, But, Rusev's not that kind of guy. And it was good. He's like, and I think there was a bit of, I think if you don't like Rusev, it shouldn't be necessarily because he doesn't like America. It could be because he's obviously very sexist. He was really mean to the ring announcer, which, okay, that might not be because she was a woman. But later in the match, he totally knocked out Lana and then yelled at her for it. And it's like, okay, but you were being a dick. So, so I mean, if you should be angry at Rusev, it should be because he's very clearly he has some sexist tendencies. But yeah, no. The match itself, I
really liked it myself.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. There were some great moves. I think it was a little bit ridiculous that Cena was...
let your hatred of Cena mar the match. True.
Cena was able to pick up Rusev on his back while being basically chokeholded, which, it's a little bit crazy, but hey, Cena never quits, so if you never give up, eventually you'll be able to lift a 300-pound man who's choking you to death off of you and throw him.
I thought, I didn't want Cena to win. I really didn't want Cena to win at all. But if you were going to have Cena win, this might have been the best way to do it, because it wasn't Rusev tapped out. It wasn't Rusev gave up. It was Rusev being a heel. It was Lana trying to cheat and Rusev paying for it.
And John Cena wasn't winning for himself. He was winning for America. Yeah. So it was probably the best way for John Cena to win as far as people who don't like John Cena.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
What if they don't like John Cena, nor do they like America?
Well, then they just hated this match altogether.
I didn't. It was the match.
Yeah, but you said you like America.
I don't like America.
What?
I don't like America. That was a joke. I was imitating the crowd when I said
that. Oh!
Yeah, so it was a really good match, well built.
I'm gonna cut you off from all American products. No, just
It was really well built. The story was well told. It was perfect heel moves. Perfect heel gets his comeuppance. I just wish it wasn't John Cena.
My one thing was they kept saying I think JBL was just having an orgasm with the amount of anti-Russian things he could say, and he was just he's just if you don't like it, you can get out of the country. and he was freaking out, and I was just thinking, yeah, he could, but he's making a lot of money, and they're paying him to do this. But overall, what would you say the match was?
I feel like if I took my John Cena hatred out of the picture, this might have been the perfect match for the story they were telling. So I'm actually going to give it an A star.
A star?
I think it was perfect for the story they were telling. So yeah, I'm going to give it an A star.
I'm going to give it a regular... I'm going to give it an A minus, mainly because I can't take my John Cena hatred out of it. But also, as much as I love the intro, and I loved it to death, an intro doesn't make a match. And yes, it did play it did play into their story very well, like you said. My only thing is the moves involved were good, they just weren't perfect. And for me, a perfect match, everything needs to be perfect. Not just the story, not just the intro, but the moves as well. And the moves were just a little below perfect, so it's not going to get a perfect rating for me. Anyway,
I get it. I do.
So yeah, that's all for that match.
Can I just quickly point out that, again, the US title being on John Cena means we might, I guess not anymore, but maybe we'll get to see a US title main event over the next couple of pay-per-views, which would be good for the US title.
I would love to see Bad News Barrett be like, time to take the US title back into the hands of foreigners. That'd be funny.
Before Rusev, it was Sheamus.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. So, yeah.
I was hoping Rusev would turn it into the European Championship.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been fun. But
he names it that? That'd be funny.
Well, there was an old European Championship belt, so maybe he just turns it into that.
Or maybe he makes his own.
Yeah, there was a Russian Federation belt on the online somewhere that looked awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there was that.
Well, and he has connections to Tank, so I think he can make a belt.
Now, as much as I hate the spinner, I hope John Cena brings it back just for his reign. Then we can drop it when he finishes.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen the John Cena spinner United States Championship?
No.
Okay, let me send you a picture while we're talking. But yeah, I agree with your A minus in a way. I just thought, maybe I'm trying too hard to compensate for my bias, but I really do think in an America versus Russia storyline, this might well have been the best way to tell the story. And
See, for me, I think I think one main problem for me, and I know, like, it's up to you whether you should take this into account on your rating, whether or not. But for me, the story in the first place isn't that strong, and
I agree.
And that's because one, since he's not Russian, he's Bulgarian. Okay?
But he's the hero of the Russian Federation.
Two, I don't really care about the Russian Federation. I care about communist Russia. If they made it communist Russia, I'd be so much more into it, like so much more jacked up for this. Two, I just don't think Cena's the right. I mean, yes, I understand, but I feel like should he be the America guy? Maybe. Overall, I just don't like the story in the first place. There are things they could have done with the overall arcing story to make it better, and I think that's another reason I don't really like it. It doesn't make sense to me, and also, like, I don't know, Cena just says stupid stuff like, hey, you may have the right to free speech, but you can't say bad things about America. It's like, no, that's the only reason we have the right to free speech is to say bad things about the government. Anyway.
Okay, let's not politically rant on a wrestling show. But
I'm sorry.
That's fine. No, you said exactly enough. Just don't go any further.
I'm gonna go further. No.
I sent you the link to the US spinner belt.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to the Face of Fear match.
Yeah.
So
that thing looks hilarious.
that was a genuine thing for like a year.
It's America belt. My God.
So.
Surprised it just doesn't have a perch for an eagle on it. Anyway.
So we had Husky Harris versus Mean Mark Calloway.
Wait, what?
What? Those are their old ring names.
Repeat them again.
Husky Harris versus Mean Mark Calloway.
Okay. What did you think about the match?
I wasn't expecting much, and I didn't get too much.
Hmm.
It was better than my expectations. It was the worst match on the card.
Wait. Before we get to that, I think we should talk about the promo.
Okay.
Yeah, just for chronological sake.
When you outline the whole thing.
Okay, so, well, to be fair, this is probably the one that I got bits and pieces of just because I was having trouble with my my streaming thing. But basically, it was a great. It started out as what could have been a great 5-minute heel speech, and just turned into a 30-minute ramble, and 20 minutes of it was silence. They weren't rambling for 30 minutes. A lot of it was just them staring at each other and the crowd screaming. Which I'm not sure if I like that, but anyway, let me get to it. So Stephanie McMahon comes out with Triple H, who is, remember, victorious from his last.
No, that's a different guy.
I do keep saying this. I think it's hilarious because I was telling this to Puddy, and so he's responding with another joke. That Triple H, when he comes out in his wrestling gear and he's the king. He's
or the
cheered.
Terminator.
Yeah, or the Terminator, apparently. What the fuck? We probably should have talked about that, but whatever. But yeah, he's cheered by a lot of people. To be fair, like a good amount of people. Like, he has fans. And then as soon as he puts on the suit, you totally lose all of that, no matter what and he could say, wearing his wrestling outfit, he could say, "I beat Sting," and everyone cheers. Saying the exact same thing in a suit, everyone boos. It's like, okay, he just said the exact same thing he said before, and you cheered him. Anyway, I think it's hilarious. It's one of those sort of heel complexes, and how everyone is like, just immediately reacts to the authority with hatred, which is, they probably should. I just think that's really cool. But so they come out and they're having a speech about the authority and how it got really dark. Like, everyone is their slaves and Triple H beat the world. It was really weird. It was sort of a psychopathic heel rant. And Brock came out to sort of break it up. And then, Rock can't hit women because it's WWE for some reason. You can't hit women there. So they then bring out a woman hitter. What's her name?
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey, and it definitely should have been Randy Orton, but they brought out Ronda Rousey. I'm a fucking snake.
Just RKO. Hey, Randy Orton has kicked Stephanie McMahon in the head on a number of occasions.
And it would have made sense for the story, because he was. It seems stupid to me that he only is angry at Seth Rollins when the whole authority burned him.
I mean, like, The Rock and Randy Orton are like this. They're tight as hell. I mean, they've never ever
they're
talked,
not. But Randy Orton doesn't, he's not coming out there for The Rock. He's a snake. He's like, ooh! Anyway, maybe he bites The Rock, too. We don't know. He's unpredictable. Look, so we bring out Ronda Rousey, which I think is a hilarious name. Alliteration is always fun, and for some reason when I hear her name, I imagine a really tough rabbit.
I'm pretty sure she sometimes goes by the name Rowdy Ronda Rousey. After Roddy Piper, so I like that.
That's great. So yeah, she comes out and she just starts, she's like, she's really tough. She's an actual fighter, and Stephanie McMahon is hardly even a WWE fighter. So she gets beaten. Triple H gets, in my opinion, sucker punched by The Rock.
But also, Triple H also gets taken out by Ronda Rousey though? Yeah.
They both beat him up, and then he just sort of falls out of the ring.
This segment was great, but part of me was like, when Ronda Rousey, from the moment she arrived, she just couldn't stop being in awe of the fact that she was actually at WrestleMania. She was just, to me, she was a little overwhelmed by the occasion.
Yeah, she was in the main ring at the main event.
Yeah, no, she's
not the main event. She was in the main ring at WrestleMania.
Yeah, she was looking at The Rock like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm here," and stuff like that.
And plus, Stephanie McMahon had just announced previously that this is the largest crowd in the history of WrestleMania.
No, so she announced it was the largest crowd in the history of Levi's Stadium.
What?
Yeah, it wasn't WrestleMania. It's like
that was really stupid. Well, who cares about that? Okay, whatever.
Do it every year. Every year they break the record for the stadium when they say it. I'm not sure Ronda Rousey is allowed to wear a Dragon Ball Z t-shirt.
No, she did.
At WrestleMania. I don't think anyone's going to tell her off, but who knows?
It worked because it was nerdy and it also matched The Rock's t-shirt as far as its black and white layout. Yeah. And the font was the same. Did you know that? It just worked. They were a decent pair. I mean, here's the one thing coming.
Fifth largest crowd in WrestleMania history.
Okay, that's pretty decent. So coming out of this, the one thing, I think it was way too long. Way too long.
Oh, definitely.
30 minutes. Oh my god. Almost no fighting.
Roughly.
And if they had fighting, it wouldn't have been entertaining. Because it was basically just...
I would pay to see The Rock and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon in a proper match.
It would be decent, but it wasn't gonna be a proper match,
no. I was hoping they'd announce one for next year. That would have been fun.
I was expecting him to use a second sledgehammer because I saw two sledgehammers down there.
Well, they're different people, so they have different sledgehammers.
Exactly, but he had that sledgehammer down there for his use.
He was down there, and he was like, that's the other Triple H's sledgehammer. I'll take mine.
Anyway, but yeah, the whole thing was way too long. The only thing I can take away from this is probably not, but it would be interesting to see The Rock and Ronda come back as a pair every once in a while. I don't know. Because even with the short bit we saw, you don't like that? I think they had decent chemistry, personally. Apparently you don't. Let's hear it from you.
No, it's not that. I just put those there. But
okay.
I don't think they had... I thought Ronda was too overcome by The Rock for them to have too much chemistry. I think Ronda Rousey...
She's very quiet.
a great pro wrestler. She says she wants to get into pro wrestling. I doubt she'll leave UFC in the next 4 or 5 years, but maybe one day she could come as a special attraction. And I mean, we saw how well it worked with Brock. If you book them properly, it'll work. I just think Ronda Rousey in the Divas division would get buried amongst the shit. But, if she ever wants to leave her very, very well-paid, cushy position in real fighting and come work 4 dates a year, then I'd like to see her wrestling. I don't know whether I want to see her in a pair with The Rock, but maybe a one-off tag team match.
I just really meant for them to come in and like yell at people together.
Well, I'd rather see Ronda fight than talk.
I haven't seen her fight before, but I mean, if you want to see her fight, we should go see a UFC match.
I don't want her to actually kill the other guy. She ripped his ear off once with a punch. So, you know.
She does seem very scary. The whole time I was thinking she could kill The Rock and Triple H and Stephanie within like 30 seconds if she wanted to.
You were saying she could take all three of them. I'm like, well, she can take Stephanie without a shadow of a doubt. I think she'd probably have Rock on cardio if nothing else. So Triple H is the only question mark.
Yeah. I think
Triple H is more in shape than The Rock at this point because The Rock hasn't done anything in like 2 years.
Yeah, true. And Triple H is kind of scary strong sometimes. I don't know. He's decently strong.
At like peak fitness, Rock's probably better. It's just Rock isn't in as good a shape right now.
I mean, to be fair, Triple H picked up. It was one of probably the strongest moves we saw all night. Triple H picked up Sting and held him above his head, straight up in the air for a good 3 seconds. Like it was like 5 seconds. It was a while, it seemed. So. I don't know. That seems to me like a pretty strong move. Anyway, so yeah, that's all about the promo. We probably spent too much time talking about the promo, but the amount of time it got.
it was a decent promo. I thought when they revealed Ronda Rousey, because I know who she is, that was awesome. But yeah, it was too long. Definitely too long.
Yeah, it was really long. It was a good snack break. In the middle of the show.
If I had recognized it was a snack break, maybe.
I was too busy fixing my equipment to make it a snack break. I ended up having to take out a small portion of. Anyway, but yeah, that's all for the promo. So the next match on the card
was the Undertaker
versus Bray Wyatt,
otherwise known as Mean Mark Calloway, versus Bray Wyatt, previously known as Husky Harris.
Mm-hmm. Husky Harris.
That was his name in WWE for like 2 years.
Husky. But anyway, but yeah, the two of them, they're really creepy people. I think for me, Bray Wyatt's way creepier than the Undertaker. Like, I think the Undertaker can be scary, sure, in a sort of like I'm a dead man way, but Bray Wyatt's like a creepy in a sort of I'm gonna rape you and your entire family way. Like, I could never put rape on the Undertaker. I'm like, okay, the Undertaker might like bury my family alive, but I'm not gonna rape them. And I can definitely see the Bray Wyatt like raping my entire family. Maybe burning their bodies.
It's a lot more subtle with Bray, whereas with Undertaker, it's like, yeah, I got a brother, he was burned alive, so I killed my parents. And with Bray, it's more like Sister Abigail, who could be my mother or my auntie or my sister or my
look, I have a lantern.
or my daughter or something, and she might be dead, or I might have killed her, or I don't know, or she might still be alive possessing me. She might be a ghost or a demon. I have these two guys, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. They might be my sex slaves, or they might be.
They fight each other though.
Yeah, I let them free, which means either they're more psycho or they're less psycho. We're not too sure. You know what I mean?
Eventually, I can call them back with a code word. They will stop being independent fighters, drop their heel-face origins, and join me.
Luke, clean your shirt. Code phrase. Active.
Now, Luke, get it dirty again.
That's
clean.
Those are the code words. Luke, clean your shirt, and Luke, get it dirty again. But yeah, this match, I wasn't really expecting much. Taker's old and Bray has an injury right now, so
yeah. Oh no, they were either whether it was one of the two or both. Probably the match was definitely handicapped by their age and injury. It was slow. It seemed like light moves knocked the crap out of each other. Like one move and Bray was like, oh god, and like one move and Undertaker was like, I'm never getting up again. I'm never getting up again. Like they were just crawling around the ring. For half the match, which in a way it was interesting just to see who would die first, of just exhaustion. They put on the exhaustion phase very good. And Bray Wyatt, I said this, like I don't think they do, but he is so loud. It sounds like they have a mic hooked up to him because you can hear him clear as a bell, like breathing, snarling, yelling. Like he's really good in his like ring performance in the middle of the match. Like he's like, like he's like, it may be real, but it probably is part of the way because he's a big guy and he's running around a lot. But he's very loud. You can hear him clearly. It's really entertaining in that sense for him. The Undertaker is the complete opposite. He's quiet as the grave. Fun. Anyway, but
I liked how at the very start of the match, Bray was like kind of marking out in his own like way, like I actually did it. He's actually
yeah. Every time he hit him, he started giggling. He's like,
like Bray did the spider walk, and then Taker did the sit up.
That was the best part of the match by far, because I was sitting there. They were both knocked out. And by 7 seconds, neither of them had moved. And I even was like in the chat. I was like, guys? and then all of a sudden you just see Bray go, and then you see the Undertaker, boom. And I'm like, oh yeah! It was really good. It was really good. And in that way, you see a sort of dichotomy, a sort of parallelism between the two characters. And I think they set that up well. You know? The fact that, and how Bray Wyatt was mocking the Undertaker, they're setting up a future for the Bray Wyatt very well in taking the Undertaker's shoes. They are. In that sense.
The loss didn't hurt Bray on the night as much as I thought it might.
No, and the way they play, I mean, really a lot of, you can't, because of how many people have lost the Undertaker, anyone who loses to him can shake it off, pretty much. They can just say, well, it's the Undertaker, I'll fight him next year. So, and everyone has done that, you know, like no one's ever just been like, well, I lost the Undertaker. That's it. Well, except Shawn Michaels. Anyway.
Well, Shawn Michaels did fight him 2 years in a row.
Yeah, exactly. And
so
he made a bet.
Kane fought him twice. Triple H fought him 3 times. Shawn Michaels fought him twice in a row. And CM Punk fought him once a couple of years ago. And then Brock fought him once and beat him. So, sad face. Undertaker fought 2 people in 1 year once.
Yay!
Grade of the match, overall thoughts?
I'm going to give it a C+. Really slow. Very poor fighting. There were a couple. It was a little bit like there were a couple when he did his first tombstone. I was like, oh yeah, that was very nostalgic for me. Because like I think I've told you this. Like I used to watch Friday Night SmackDown like probably 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago when we used to have DirecTV. And my 2 favorite competitors back then, which I didn't really know much about it at all, but was Batista and The Undertaker. And I think at the time they actually had a struggle going on. So that may have been why.
2007, 2008 then.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So it's probably longer than 5 years actually. It was a long time ago. But yeah, they had a feud going on at the time, and they were definitely my favorite at the time. And yeah, so the Undertaker, his moves were nostalgic, and so that raised it up a little bit. But it was so slow. Their injuries and their age hampered it so much. To be fair, at the beginning, Undertaker was very energetic, but he lost that so quickly. Like there were maybe 2 minutes where I was thinking, yeah, you can do this, and then
it was a hell of a lot better than last year.
Yeah, and it was better than at the beginning. It was better than Triple H v Sting, which is why I was thinking at the beginning, wow, Undertaker can actually pull this off as a decent match. But he got worn out so quickly to the point where he could barely pick himself up. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a C+. What about you?
I'm gonna go straight down the middle with a C. I'm gonna not let my Undertaker fandom blind me because Undertaker is my favorite wrestler of all time.
I can't see.
Undertaker is my favorite wrestler of all time, without a doubt. And this was awesome to see him with hair again. The way he looked was great. I thought if this is the last time I see the Dead Man, I am so happy because it is really, really good to see him like this. And
his entrance was simple and poetic.
Yes.
It wasn't flashy. And I think that's getting back to his roots in the sort of, hey, just walk in.
You're right. It wasn't like people were thinking it was going to be Biker Undertaker, and I'm so glad it wasn't. And people I'm also glad, like you said, it's so simple. It was him in like a mixture of all his old costumes with hair again, with the hat.
He was very human.
Yeah.
Like, even though he's the Dead Man, this is probably the most human you've seen him in years. Like he was just very
since he came in on a motorbike.
Yeah, yeah. And I think also Bray Wyatt's entrance was pretty damn good.
Awesome, yeah.
I love Bray Wyatt's song because it's like this nice, like curled back sort of 70s style psychedelic rock. It's just like and you've got scarecrows. Is that new?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. I think scarecrows are terrifying.
Although
so that for me,
last year, like they had the band that plays his song, they played it live last year at Mania. They had scarecrow masks.
Oh,
but
well. Anyway, the scarecrows looked really creepy. They were like reaching out at Bray Wyatt, and it was like Bray Wyatt was telling them, "No, not now." Like he was like,
and then he got to one and said, "Yes, you are the one."
Yeah. No, but they were creepy as hell, and I ever since like seeing I don't remember what it was, but anyway, I think scarecrows are really creepy, so that was awesome. Entrance.
I remember playing, like, I do this even recently, like playing games in the park and, running into scarecrows late at night. It's always freaky.
Oh my god, yeah. No, they're the worst. They're like they don't just scare crows. In fact, they're really shitty at scaring crows. They're horrible at their job. They just scare children and almost adults, the two of us. But we shouldn't be scared of them, but we are. So.
I give it middle of the road C because I got a lot of nostalgia out of it. I really am gonna just say that Bray was injured tonight and give him a little bit of leeway. I thought it probably was positioned in its position on the card because of the light, and that is absolutely it. And I don't know, it felt like a main event match in a way, but in terms of quality, it wasn't there. It was the worst match on the card, but that's not a bad thing on such a great card.
And I did say this, they did what they could with the light situation. It was still daytime, but the stadium was in shadow, and it did seem like it got pretty dark when the Undertaker came.
Taker's entrance was fine. Yeah, they did the blue lighting, which
and the blue lighting makes it seem darker, which works, even in light. So I think that, that proves that Vince McMahon can... What?
The entrance... that it's not completely dark shows that he's more human because he can't completely command the skies anymore.
That's true.
There you go.
I think I don't know. In a way, I think either they go with Undertaker ends as more human than ever before, and he's like, "You're now my," or they have to end it as he's less human than ever before, and he disappears like a ghost.
There's two ways I hope they end it. There's two ways I hope I end it. First of all, I am perfectly fine if we never see The Undertaker again until his Hall of Fame induction. I am. And because last year it was very difficult.
We're probably going to see him, though, because of the stupid announcers, what they were saying.
Yeah, but there's another way I'd be happy. If he beats, or loses to, probably beats Sting next year, and the two of them just leave together.
Mm-hmm. They walk out. Holding hands.
in both of their hometowns. Perfect. So, Undertaker...
And the Undertaker surprisingly pulls out a banjo and they start playing. He's like... Anyway.
Yeah, that was the Undertaker Bray Wyatt match. It was good for what they had. It wasn't the best, but...
It seemed like going into this you had the lowest expectations for this match anyway.
I had this match, probably so. But like a week ago, this match and the Sting Trips match was on the same level. But earlier, like today, I thought about it a bit more and thought, Sting's in pretty good shape. And Triple H had a 5-star match only last year, so maybe I should expect a little more from that match. But yeah, you're right. I probably had the lowest expectations for this match, and I love these two guys. They couldn't really disappoint me, so they didn't.
Yeah, it was good. So, let's move on.
The next match on my list is referred to as Seth Rollins, oh my god, and is the match between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. So...
Mine is blank. My computer blew up. No!
My penis blew up, personally.
The universe ripped open? Hey, I said that. You stole that from me.
So let's set the scene. So this match was Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, we need to set the scene? They didn't do that every 1 hour for the last 3 months. They have run so many promos for this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman has really strained his poor little man voice.
So it's Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble, which gave him the shot here. We won't talk about Fastlane. And so the first guy to enter was Roman Reigns. Music hits, audible boos. I didn't hear many cheers. It was a boo crowd.
Oh, he was booing. He was walking through. We saw one man try to get in his way.
Yeah. And then we saw one guy reach for his head, and he had to duck it. So there was a lot, and also everyone was putting out their fists because, like, a couple of times Roman Reigns' fist bumped. Didn't fist bump a single person on the way to the ring tonight. Roman was not happy. He didn't even look like a face. He was probably scared shitless. I can't really blame him. He was probably scared as hell, but he did not look happy at all. He's
probably like, why am I here? Everyone hates me.
How much do you want to bet he got told about Seth Rollins before coming out and just dropped?
Maybe. It'd be really dicky if they didn't tell them.
The thing is, though,
they're like, yeah, Brock, you're gonna win.
No, because Roman probably thought he was going to win the title 3 months ago. Probably thought he was going to win the title a month ago. You know, I don't think the Seth Rollins decision was made in. Maybe it was. Maybe you're right. Vince is just some god who knows how to work the fuck out of me. But you know, I think there are a lot of people.
We're gonna make all those little Welshmen blow up.
I think there are a decent amount of people who didn't watch Mania tonight because of Fastlane, because of the Royal Rumble. I don't think Vince would have risked that.
They're gonna be pissed tomorrow.
They might well be. This was a moment in history, man, in wrestling history, anyway. But yeah, so this was a audible boost for Roman Reigns, a lot of crowd trouble, and then Brock comes out. Reasonable pop, probably not the best of the night, but you know, pretty big, probably fourth or fifth biggest pop of the night for Brock. Paul Heyman comes out, gets a good crowd reaction. Great setting the scene. Match starts, and it's fast and furious from the start.
Yeah, a lot of really hard beatings from Brock Lesnar right from the beginning. Like, if you looked at this in a scientific, empirical way, you would say, yes, that man's going to die. Like, as far as Roman Reigns at the beginning, because Brock Lesnar was German suplex after German suplex. He was punching.
I counted 5 Germans.
Yeah, there weren't a ton, but he threw him into the ropes quite a bit. He was generally just getting hit a lot and not really being able to fight back. And then out of nowhere, he just starts fighting back.
Oh shit, I had a point, but yeah, Brock's not the best at working a match. He's okay. He's very good. Sorry, when he has a guy on the other side of the ring who knows how to work a match, a CM Punk, a Triple H. But when he doesn't, when he has a John Cena or a Roman Reigns, he can't really work a proper match. But he can work a beatdown, and that's what he did tonight. And it was perfect Brock Lesnar. And then, you know what? If the blood wasn't there, I would have thought the comeback from Roman Reigns was a little bit iffy. But Brock was just bleeding, and I was like, oh, it's one lucky shot that got that much blood out of him, and that one lucky shot spawned the comeback. Yeah,
and he was bleeding everywhere. He was slobbering around like a drunk man. He was falling into the ropes. Could barely get up at one point. It was very clear that, oh wow, the comeback is real. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, lol, Roman wins. You know?
Yeah, like Brock, one lucky shot. He's losing a lot of blood, and then Reigns Superman punches him. He doesn't go down. So he Superman punches him.
Yeah, I think one of the best parts about this match is they made the match, even without the part at the end, really good. It was an intense fight.
I would have been disappointed if Roman won, but I couldn't have denied the match quality. It was a Brock Lesnar beatdown with a great psychology, one lucky shot. Roman didn't sell too great. You know, he did take 3 F5s. It was just fine at the end. But, you know, it doesn't really matter because
he never gives up.
Gives up, and he's hustle, loyalty, respect, and he represents America even though he comes from Samoa. Anyway.
But yeah, no, he's definitely he started. I mean, like I said to you earlier, I think this really means that Roman Reigns is really bad at executing wrestling moves in a safe manner.
I don't think so.
I mean, come on! What happened? It was the only bleeding of the night, and he was bleeding profusely.
Yeah, it was the ring post that really got the blood flowing.
Yeah, no. After that, like he was dripping everywhere, and I was thinking, oh, that's gonna stain.
But that blood really added. It was like Brock is in trouble, and it's only one shot that's done it to him.
Yeah, and at first, when he was first bleeding, it just sort of seemed like, oh, you pissed off a giant, you made his lip bloody. But then it really started to build up. Anyway, we're really obsessed with the blood, as you can tell.
It's really important to me because it really added to the match.
No, it did. I was totally into the match. I was on the edge of my seat.
So was I. Yeah, the crowd was too. It was a really good crowd for that match.
I think they went into the match just like we did, thinking, but then they were like, holy shit.
I think they were determined to root against Roman, and that helped because Roman was a clear heel. And when Brock was fucking him up, everyone was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Counting Paul with the suplexes.
Yeah. Paul Heyman was so happy, but just like Paul Heyman is, the first sign of trouble, he just starts going, oh God, no. And so he looked, he looked really worried at first. I was really anyway, Paul Heyman, I think we need to send some paramedics to his house to check up on him.
You always call him Paul Hammond.
I think that should be his name. I think it's a better name. But anyway.
So the match, all right, Roman Reigns has hit 3 Superman punches and 2 spears, and Brock is still freaking kicking. And so we suddenly think, okay, so now it's pretty even. Both men have got an absolute beating. I wonder who's going to come out on top. And then Rollins' music hits.
Oh, and by the way, they're both lying on the floor.
Yes. And I'm thinking, all right, Rollins is going to, watch the end of the match. Someone's going to get the pinfall, and he's going to cash in. Maybe Dean Ambrose, stops him. But no, Rollins just comes in and makes it a triple threat match.
Yeah. Calls it in, throws it to the referee going, okay, now, bitch. The referee's like, wait, what's going on? I wasn't told about this. It's a triple threat match. And I'm, at this point, both of us, I think, I'm rooting. I jumped out of my seat, quite literally, and I never do this because I'm a lazy asshole. I jumped out of my seat, and I was like, come on! I was screaming, and all I could think was, oh my God, Seth Rollins, do this quickly. If you're going to do this, do it very quickly. Because in a thing like this, if he doesn't, it's very clear to me that Brock Lesnar was going to beat the living shit out of him.
Yep.
And thankfully he was able, there was a second there where Brock Lesnar was going to get that good on him, but then Roman Reigns decides to spear Brock Lesnar, helping Seth Rollins. Wasn't a good idea. By the way, Roman Reigns, terrible idea on your part. I mean, I know you were told to, but still.
When Seth first came out, the pessimist in me went, they're going to screw him over. But no, he didn't.
He did it. I know. Roman Reigns spears Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar falls out of the ring, and which I didn't really see. That was kind of off camera, but it turns out he did at the end, I guess. And then curb stomp on Roman Reigns for the victory. Tap out. I think it was a tap out?
No.
No?
It was a pinfall.
Pinfall, sorry. That's what I meant. Count down. Let me go 1, 2, 3. Anyway.
It's submission and pinfall. A tap out is when somebody submits the other guy and they tap out.
There
were no
tapping.
There were no tap out victories tonight.
The referee was tapping, though.
He
was tapping. Anyway,
runs away with the belt. He's so happy. Everyone's happy, and I'm thinking to myself, "Run, Rollins, run!" And I'm thinking, "Well, nobody can take it from you anyway, so just take it in."
No, yeah, and he did. He did take it in. He didn't just run and coward. He held it above him, and he's like, "Yes, I'm a heel."
After
and everyone
he was a safe distance away from the ring.
Yes, after he was a cool, like about a mile away, so that if he did see Brock Lesnar coming after him, he could run. But yeah, no, and everyone was cheering for him. Everyone was really happy, and they're like, "This is unexpected."
It's gonna be awesome tomorrow night.
I mean, hey, dude. I'm getting up at 9:30 in the morning. He's on the Today Show tomorrow. I never get up that early, but I can't wait to see his interview.
Raw is going to be awesome tomorrow night as well.
Yeah,
it's usually a really good show the night after Mania.
Yeah, I mean it's a heel crowd and a heel won the title.
Yep. It's going to be an awesome pro.
Oh man, he is just the Authority is just going to have a orgy. This over the next couple months. They
cemented this character to me tonight, and I have to come to accept that Seth Rollins
is the future. Oh.
Seth Rollins can never probably win a title without cheating. And I can get behind that. That can be his character. That can be the guy. Just this might be the only time he ever wins the world title, but god damn it, he main evented WrestleMania. Nobody's ever going to take that away from him. Ever.
There you go. I thought he was really entertaining. He's my favorite heel, and this pushed it over the edge. It was so unexpected. I was so caught up. I think one of the reasons was I was so caught up with the match as it was.
Yeah.
That when that happened, I was like, what? Yeah, it was great. What's his name? Dean Ambrose was, I guess, incapacitated, so we couldn't go in and stop him.
Yep.
He might have already been in his bed. I don't know, but he couldn't stop him, and that's probably the best way. Like, honestly, this is the dream scenario. This is the best way it could have gone. Really, honestly. Like, short of the ground cracking open, and demons pouring out. This is like the coolest thing that could have happened.
It really is. Like, I don't see any other way we could have had this any better. Like, really, it's been
a rough year. It's been a rough year. We can all just It's been a rough year.
And the worst may yet to come. Maybe yet to come. But tonight was a good night.
A very good night.
Yeah.
And it has got me excited for No Rules.
Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules. Well, it's kind of No Rules.
Which is in Chicago, baby!
Chicago! Yeah.
Hell of a show. Expect around about an hour of the 3 to be CM Punk chants.
Mm-hmm.
Roughly an hour. Whenever Paul Heyman's on screen, there'll be CM Punk chants. Which might be never.
I think Paul Heyman's dead. No. Seriously, if Roman Reigns won, he would have had to go into recovery. But Seth Rollins stealing the title, Paul Heyman's dead. Seriously.
Maybe Paul Heyman signs Seth Rollins.
In fact, honestly, that would be the click on top. Like, that would be the cherry on top of the ice cream, because I love Paul Heyman. He's hilarious. And I think the one thing
he puts the Jew in jiu-jitsu.
The one thing I was disappointed with that ending match was the fact they didn't show Paul Heyman's face at the end. I was like, I want to see his face. I want to see the classic, ooh, like that mouth wide open in a perfect circle and his eyes bulging. Like, oh. But they didn't show it. That was my only disappointment, and I can say that pretty confidently with the last match. What would you say?
Just my only disappointment with the last match was that we didn't see Paul Heyman's face.
Yeah.
No, most certainly the last match. Like, the only thing I have a problem with is that Roman Reigns didn't sell as much as I would have liked him to. That's about it. Roman Reigns proved a lot to me, but I mean, it wasn't that hard of a match. But I gotta give him props where props is due. Before Seth Rollins even came, that was a decent match.
So, I'm going to give this match an A.
This match.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was awesome. I think the beatings were incredible. I think, like you said, the only thing that wasn't perfect was, in fact, fuck it, no, A+. I don't even know why I gave it an A, because the entire thing, even without Seth Rollins at the end, it probably would have been an A. Like, it was a great match. Brock Lesnar gave a good beating. He was bleeding. Like, Brock Lesnar held that show really well. Roman Reigns was decent. It made me everything. Paul Heyman was there. And then Seth Rollins comes out. Definitely an A+. What do you think? What's your rating?
It's an A-star as well. Yeah, definitely. I can't not. I loved it. Like, and I hate Roman Reigns, and I loved it from every single second. Like, I know it was only like maybe 16 minutes or something, but I loved the blood. I thought it was really important. Okay, I did, and I liked the beating. I liked the comeback for the most part. Maybe don't give him 3 F5s and let him kick out. Maybe don't even cover him. Maybe give him 3 F5s and let Brock be really freaking cocky. But it was, for the most part, perfect, and I loved watching it, and that's the most important thing. So yes, A-star.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
Show rating.
My overall rating of the show, and this taking into account that it was so surprising to me. There were so many surprises during the show, and at the end, the surprise was so big. The show itself tied together so well. It was solid match after solid match. There were really only, in my opinion, I know you might have different, but in my opinion, there was only one match that was truly unsolid for me. The rest were definitely solid matches that I enjoyed. And Daniel Bryan won. Okay. No, I'm going through. Daniel Bryan won. We saw Randy Orton beat Seth Rollins, and I like Randy Orton. He's not my favorite, but I like him, and it makes sense that Seth Rollins lost that match when you see later. We saw a lot of great matches, and I'm going to give, and this kind of doesn't make sense in a logical way, but fuck you. I'm going to give it an A+. Now, I know that all my ratings don't balance out to an A+. I don't care. To me, it is because, hey, A+, not A*. Anyway, but it's. I think sometimes all the parts add up to more than their total. You know what I mean? Than the sum. However you say that. It was so great overall, and the best thing of all was, and I think I blame. I this is entirely from you, Puddy. I had no expectations for this show at all. I thought it was going to be absolutely dick. And Fastlane got me so bummed out for it. So I was like, oh, this is going to be the worst. And I honestly was so happy with how it turned out. Great moves, great stories, great wrestlers. And I'm so excited for the next year to jump off from this point. Although, to be fair, it's hard to get any higher than this, so we're probably going to roll down the hill from here. But that's life. It was great. That's all.
There's something called the Wrestlemania effect, which is a mediocre match at Wrestlemania with 70-odd thousand people and an open-air stadium just makes it slightly better because it's a grand stage. And, there's some shows like 29 and 27 that weren't great shows, but they were Mania. So that bumps it up a bit. This was a really good 4 hours. And for my money, we're only sitting here like almost 2 hours after the show. So I can't say for sure. But this might be the best WrestleMania I've ever watched. For me in my history, 24 and 28 are my favorites. And this one is right up there. I love a good Taker streak match, which wasn't on this card. And, there wasn't all the biggest stars you could have chucked on here in singles matches, but it was 4 hours of really, really, really good wrestling with surprises and great action, great character development. Could it have been better? Maybe. Yeah, definitely. But I just can't.
Be better.
No, but I mean, could you have done better with the people involved tonight? Could you have moved some people around? Could you have done Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins? Could you have done Dolph Ziggler versus Daniel Bryan and given them 20 minutes? Yes, probably. But I didn't think about that for 4 hours. I thought about how good of the show it was. And for me, there wasn't any unsolid matches on the card. Every single match was solid. Like a C match is a solid match. There hasn't been a pay-per-view since WrestleMania 30 that I have given C's or above to every single match. So there's even.
You rated shows before we did the podcast?
like if I were to think about it.
Okay.
And even 30 might have had some subpar matches. I'm thinking Shield versus New Age Outlaws and Kane. This is one of the most solid main roster shows in a very long time. Is it as good as an NXT special? Probably not. But hey, this was a huge show. 4 hours as opposed to 2 in front of 75,000 fans as opposed to 5,000. It's a different scale, and this was a spectacle.
And there was a tank.
And there was a tank. And for fuck's sake, Seth Rollins main evented WrestleMania. For God's sake, this, I need to embed this in my head. This is incredible.
He ran down that stage, tossed the tin case. I mean, I imagine because that thing dents like butter. Tin case at the referee and curb stomped two wrestlers who are definitely better than him.
we last year was genuinely a changing of the guard, and I hope Vince gets it right at the Rumble this time around next year, because last year Daniel Bryan main evented WrestleMania. This year Tyler Black main evented WrestleMania, and next year we should have someone else new. Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, not John Cena.
The only thing we can come away from this is wonder. And this is a question that I'd like you to ponder, did they plan for this whole Seth Rollins thing to happen for the last, I don't know, whenever they start planning it, maybe at the Royal Rumble, maybe months before that. Did they plan this to happen that whole time, or did they decide to do this once they started getting all this heat for Roman Reigns?
You know, my honest opinion is they decided to do this sometime this morning. I'm not even joking. I'm being completely genuine.
I think they did it this morning.
They didn't know Brock was staying with the company until like Tuesday. I have a feeling it wasn't even till this morning. But you know what? In a year's time, I'm gonna say, oh no, it was never planned. It was the fans, and then those guys, because there are still guys right now that say Daniel Bryan was always meant to be in the main event of WrestleMania last year, which is just absolute bullshit. But my voice is going, so we should probably wrap this up.
As they say, you know, you can try to create a good story in writing, but there's no better story than life. And by that, I mean, you know, that's not the saying, but it's something like that. It's basically saying that like real life has better stories that exist in fiction. And according to that, you know, then probably this happened, like you said, because of the fans. You know, it didn't happen because they planned it early in advance. It happened because they realized this is what the fans wanted. They like Seth Rollins decently, and they definitely like Seth Rollins a hell of a lot more than Roman Reigns. So, yeah, that's all from me, from my desk. But I seriously think we need to call someone about Paul Heyman.
If you're listening to this now, which I think there's one guy, or you're listening to it tomorrow or the next day or any time, and you haven't seen WrestleMania 31 and you like wrestling, or you even think about liking wrestling, we're not plugged to do this, but go buy the WWE Network for $9.99 and check out WrestleMania 31, because if you don't know,
even if you only watch it, I'd say it's worth the $10.
Yeah, if you don't know any of the characters involved, if you do not like pro wrestling after these 4 hours, I don't think you ever will.
This is probably it at its finest, you know.
Perhaps if you want the spectacle if you want the Super Bowl of pro wrestling, this was a very well done one.
With less commercials than the Super Bowl. Have you seen the Super Bowl?
I'm not sure.
Most people watch it for the commercials.
But anyway,
anyway,
I hope you guys enjoyed. We won't be doing another show on wrestling until Extreme Rules. Maybe I might convince Marshall to do some more regular ones, but we'll talk about that later this month.
Oh,
NXT doesn't air this month, a live special anyway, so we won't be coming back for one of them. So I think the next time we come to you is live from Chicago.
From Chicago.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Hey, I can go to Chicago. It's a short drive for me.
I think all the tickets are sold out.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, we'll be coming.
We'll just be in a warehouse a couple miles outside of Chicago.
We'll be live from outside the Allstate Arena. We'll get an interview with CJ Parker and Sin Cara, and we'll that'll be that. We'll also get an interview with Big Show. Wrong. But that's next time we come to you with wrestling. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Wait. You know, Big Show's gonna be like, someone's gonna be like, I bet you expected that to happen, and then Big Show's like, wrong. Anyway, I'm sorry. I love Big Show.
Stay classy, Santa Clara, because you damn sure did it tonight.